Welcome all to the complete software testing mastery program. So this is about cracking software testing interviews. So top companies don't hire testers. They hire problem solvers. And interviews today are tougher than ever. This program gives you real skills, not just theory, real scenarios, not just textbook answers, and real confidence to crack interviews at Amazon, Infosys, Accenture, and beyond. So it's not just about passing, it's about standing out. So let's begin. Top companies have raised their bar. Amazon, Infosys, Accenture, Wipro, L&T, Capgemini, and beyond. Even startups now test real skills, not just theory. So the interview trend, it is rising fast from 2018 to now. Difficulty has doubled. And why? Because textbook answers don't cut it. They want scenario thinking, debugging, and strategy. So this course is your edge. Real preparation, real confidence. So let's crack it. So top companies follow a 5 round interview flow and each round tests a different skill. The round 1 is technical core about fundamentals, test design and real examples. Round 2 is problem solving, scenario debugging, root cause analysis. Round 3 is automation basics. Even manual testers must know framework and scripting. Round 4 managerial and behavioral, leadership, pressure, conflict resolution. Round 5 HR and fitment, that is cultural, negotiation and onboarding. So this course prepare you for all 5. No surprises, no gaps, just confidence. So the most important part and the first very sure question, that is how to introduce yourself. Your self introduction isn't a CV summary, it's a value pitch. Start with your domain, then your responsibilities, what you actually do. Show impact, metrics, achievements, and results. Mention your manual versus automation split and end with one strong win. Example, I reduced defect rate by 40% through better coverage. I lead API testing and built a Selenium strategy that speed up the releases. And interviewers want delivery, not just duties. Now let's talk about your project. So project isn't just a story, it's your proof of value. Start with the domain, what the business does and why it matters. Then the architecture, keep it simple and show the flow. Then explain the test strategy, techniques, tools and approach. Show ownership, what you lead, what you solve and measure impact, metrics, results, and improvements. Use clear language, focus on your role, and be ready for technical questions. So, this is how you turn your project into a job offer. So, these are the scenarios that interviewers love because they reveal how you think. UI issues, login fails, cart mismatches, broken validations, API bugs, 500 errors, double payments, and contract mismatches, mobile quicks, version bugs, OTP delays, poor network behavior. So don't panic. Break it down. Think step by step. So this is where theory meets reality and where you prove your value. So these are the techniques interviewers use to test your brain, not your memory. ECP, group inputs into valid and invalid classes. BVA, that is test the edges, just inside, just outside. Decision table, map conditions to actions for complex rule. State transition, model behavior across screens, flows, and triggers. So don't just memorize definitions, apply them, explain them, and own them. So each test design techniques are very well explained in the program. So you can just revisit it. Now let's talk about SQL and test data. So two areas that interviewers love to probe. Here are the 4 essentials you must master. The first is find duplicates. So use group by and having count all greater than 1 to catch duplicate records. Be ready to handle tricky cases like null values and case sensitive. Then top and records. So use top or limit to fetch the highest performers. Know both syntaxes because different companies use different databases. Joining tables, this is must. Understanding inner, left, right, and full outer joins. Be able to explain how data flows across tables and how you validate it. Then comes test data strategy. So this is where mindset matters. Don't just create random data. Build it from real business scenarios. Include boundary values, nulls, empty fields, and ask about expected data volumes. So now let's talk about bug explanation. Because explaining bugs clearly is one of the most underrated interview skills and one of the most powerful. So here's the structure interviewers love. That is reproduction steps. Give numbers, step by step instruction. Make it easy to follow. Then comes actual versus expected. Be specific. What did you expect and what actually happened? Then comes impact assessment. Explain how the bug affects user, business, or system stability. Then comes root cause analysis. So even if you are not a developer, show that you understand where the issue began. Let's take an example. The bug is login fails after entering valid credentials. So let's see the steps. Open the application, enter valid username, enter valid password, and click on login. So the result, error message, invalid credentials appear. Impact, legitimate users are blocked from accessing the system. And the cause, input validation issue in the authentication service. Now let's talk about priority and severity, a common interview trap. Severity is how bad the bug is. Priority means when it should be fixed. So you must know both and explain why. And here's the best part, this entire mindset from structure to clarity is built inside the program. So you'll learn how to explain bugs like a pro with templates, example, and real feedback. So API testing is a hot topic in interviews. And here's what you need to master. Start with the status code. Know what 201, 400, 500 actually mean. So interviewers often ask, what is the status code 201 and when would you expect to see it? So your answer should show clarity on resource creation and proper response handling. Next is post API testing. So validate payloads, check response bodies, and confirm that resources are created correctly. Then you should understand idempotency, that is get, put, delete, should behave consistently no matter how many times they are called. You should know the difference between authentication and authorization. So, auth is who you are, and auth z is what you are allowed to do. Master required headers, content type, accept, authorization, and know when each one matters. And don't forget contract testing. That is making sure the API response matches the expected schema. Now, here's the mindset shift. You don't just memorize these terms, you learn how to apply them in real scenarios. So, top companies don't just test your knowledge, they test your thinking. So, here's how they do it: strategic thinking. They want to see how you approach complex features. Can you break them down into testable components? Can you design a smart, scalable strategy? Then comes problem solving. So, they'll throw unclear requirements at you. Your job is to explore, question, and test with confidence, even when things are ambiguous. Then comes risk assessment. They'll ask how you prioritize. Can you focus on what matters most to the business? Can you balance coverage with efficiency? And here's what you'll learn inside the program: how to design strategy for any feature, how to test when requirements are unclear, how to select test cases smartly, and how to apply a risk based approach that impresses interviewers. So, this isn't just theory, it's a mindset. And that mindset is built step by step inside the program. You will walk into interviews with clarity, confidence, and a strategy that speaks for itself. So, let's talk about the most interesting part, that is automation. So, even if you are a manual tester, you must understand automation principles because interviewers expect it. So, here's what they'll ask: what should be automated? So, focus on repetitive, stable, business critical, UI heavy, and regression prone areas. You must show that you understand ROI, not just tools. Then comes automation ROI, that is return of investment. So, calculated using time saved, coverage increased, defect detection speed, and maintenance cost. So, this shows you think like a strategist, not just a scripter. Then comes framework structure. So know the layered architecture, page object, keyword, data driven logic, reporting, and configuration. So even if you don't build it, you should be able to explain it. Then comes handling dynamic elements. So talk about explicit weights, relative locators, custom predicates, and even AI powered solutions. So this show you are ready for modern challenges. Then comes tool comparison. Be ready to compare common tools like Selenium and Playwright. Know their browser support, programming languages, and headless capabilities. So you don't need to memorize. Just understand the trade off. And here's your checklist for automation readiness: stable requirement, recurring test cases, test data availability, CI/CD integration, team skills, maintainability plan. Then comes HR rounds. They aren't just about your skills, they're about your mindset, maturity, and cultural fit. So, here are the 5 questions you must be ready for. The first is conflict resolution. Tell me about a conflict with a team member and how you resolved it. So, they are testing your emotional intelligence and teamwork. Then comes requirement challenge. Describe a time you challenged a requirement. How did you handle it? They want to see if you speak up with logic and respect. Then comes production issues. Tell me about a time you prevented a production issue from going live. This shows ownership and proactive thinking. Then comes pressure handling. So, how do you handle pressures and tight deadlines? They are looking for calm, clarity, and prioritization. Then comes career transitions. Why are you leaving your current role? Be honest, but always frame it with growth and purpose. So use the STAR method: situation, task, action, and result. Be specific. Use real examples. Highlight your soft skills: communication, collaboration, and leadership. And here's the mindset shift: this program doesn't just prepare you with answers, it builds your confidence to handle these questions with grace. So you'll walk in with clarity, structure, and the emotional intelligence interviewers respect. Let's talk about the mistakes that silently block interview success. These are the 6 common pitfalls, and we fix every one of them inside the program. The first is too much theory, relying only on textbook knowledge. So, interviewers want to see how you apply concepts in real scenarios. They don't want theoretical knowledge. Then comes no real examples, giving generic answers. You must back your points with specific situations from your own experience. Then comes weak project explanation, not being able to explain your project clearly. You need a structure, clarity, and impact, and we teach you exactly how to do that. Then comes no matrix, failing to quantify your work. So, numbers speak louder than adjectives. We show you how to use metrics that impress everyone. Then, no clarity on roles, being vague about your responsibilities. So, you must define your role precisely, and we give you templates to do that. Then comes no ownership, sounding passive. You need to show initiative, problem solving, and leadership, even in a small task. And here's the best part: this course is designed to fix all these mistakes with real examples, structured formats, and mindset training. So you won't just learn what to say, you will learn how to say it with confidence. So this is your complete interview toolkit. Everything you need to walk in prepared and walk out selected. So let's break it down. The first is self-introduction, a perfect format that shows value, not just experience. Then project template, a clear structure to explain your project like a pro. Then bug explanation, a format that interviewers love, clear, structured, and impact driven. Then comes test strategy, examples for different scenarios so you never feel stuck. Then comes automation answers, ready responses, even if you are a manual, with clarity and confidence. Then SQL and API, so quick reference for technical questions that come up often. Then real world metrics, practical numbers that show your impact. Then scenario template, ready made answers for common testing challenges. So, this is how you become interview ready, job ready, and success ready. All right. So this program doesn't just teach theory. It guarantees real preparation for real interviews. Here's how. Real life examples from WhatsApp, Zomato, YouTube. We use actual bugs and failures to build your thinking. Then industry patterns. Everything we teach is based on what top companies actually follow. Then ISTQB clarity. We simplify the foundation syllabus and connect it directly to real world testing. Then strong visuals. diagrams that make complex ideas instantly clear, then step by step answers, structured formats for bug explanation, strategy, and scenario handling, then recruiter expectations. We show you exactly what hiring managers want to hear. And here's the best part, we have analyzed real interview process from multiple companies. So you are not guessing, you are preparing with precision. So this program builds your mindset, your confidence, and your ability to perform under pressure. So it's not just theory, it's transformation. All right, you are now ready. Job ready, interview ready, and confidence ready. So here's what you walk away with. Job readiness. You have mastered real interview scenarios. You have built comprehensive test strategies. You have prepared for API, UI, and SQL questions with clarity and confidence. Then you have succeeded the interview confidence. You can answer scenario based questions with a structure. You can explain your projects like a pro, and you can handle behavioral rounds with emotional intelligence. Then comprehensive skills. That is, you have built debugging and root cause analysis. You understand test data and DevOps basics. You have developed an automation mindset, even if you are a manual tester today. So this concludes the video on cracking software testing interviews in top companies. I hope you now have a clear understanding of the format most companies use and the mindset they expect. So wishing you lots of success and good luck with your interview preparation. Stay connected and keep yourself updated with any communication I share, whether by email or any other medium in the future. All the best and thank you for watching the video.